Yo, what is good, YouTube? In today's video, I'm giving you guys the top 5 meta SMGs you guys need to be using. So if you enjoyed the video, let's break 250 likes. Also, subscribe with all notifications turned on, and let's get into it. All right, for our first gun here today, we're going to be jumping into the Jackal PDW. This is 100% the #1 SMG you guys can be using in Warzone. So let's give you guys, of course, the best build for it. First thing, we're going to go into the barrel. We don't need to actually go into muzzle category at all. We're going to go into the barrel section. What we're going to do is we're going to go throw on the long barrel to increase out our damage range as much as possible. We don't really need to go increase out our bullet velocity or do both at the same time of damage range and bullet velocity. It's just not that beneficial. We really only care about that long barrel just so we can increase out our damage range. The range in which you're going to be using an SMG is not really, it's not necessary to increase out your bullet velocity since pretty much everything's going to be hit scan anyways, so we just need that extra damage range. After that, now going into the underbarrel section, we're going to go on down here. We're going to throw on that Ranger foregrip. This helps their horizontal recoil control and of course our sprinting movement speed. Two things that are absolutely crucial for making this gun really good. You can honestly make it pretty much like a laser beam. It's really not going to move hardly at all. And of course, we need to have as good of sprinting movement speed as we can have, considering it's our SMG. It's our close range gun that we want to be able to move around, glide around with, so that's going to be really nice. Now for the magazine, we're to go down in here. We basically have two options. You can go for extended mag 1 if you want to have the 40 rounds in the mag. This will allow you to be a little bit faster. I've experimented around with this myself. It's actually pretty fun to use. Or you can go down for extended mag 2. There's not really going to be like a giant downside to using extended mag 2, and frankly probably a lot of people are more comfortable using this, and you'll feel very, very fast running around extended mag 1 as opposed to 2. So just kind of choose what's good for you. If you're playing something like solos, obviously you could probably get away with 1, but generally speaking, trios, quads, so on and so forth, you want to go for the bigger mag. Now in the rear grip section, we're going to go on here. We're going to go down and throw on that ergonomic grip. This can help us with our slide to fire, dive to fire, and ADS speed. Basically all the things we really want from a rear grip. Really can't complain about that, to be honest. And then lastly, in the stock section, we're going to go in here. We're going to throw on that beautiful infiltrator stock, which is going to give you a maximum increase to your aim walking movement speed, but also you could definitely go throw on that balance stock, as you're going to get a pretty similar effect, but you're going to get a few more pros. So between the balance stock and the infiltrator, it's totally up to you and what you want to use. You really can't go wrong with either or on this gun. So just choose one or the other. It's totally up to you. Now moving on down to our second SMG, we're going to use the Compact 92. This got a pretty nice buff a little while ago, making it from being just totally garbage to actually being like one of the #2 SMGs in the game. Pretty much right up there with the PP919, which will of course show you guys. But we're gonna first attachment's gonna be the muzzle. We're gonna go throw on that compensator. This is gonna help us out the absolute most, their overall vertical recoil control. You guys definitely should be running this. There's no reason for you not to run it. You need to have something to control the recoil on this gun. It's got quite a bit, so that's why we're going to be running that here first. In the barrel section, what we're going to do is we're just going to go on and do the same thing we did for that Jackal PDW, which is going to be the long barrel. You guys don't need to, like I said, increase out your overall bullet velocity. All you really care about is extending out your damage range. This gun doesn't have a crazy damage range, but it does make up for it in having pretty much the fastest fire rate in the game. So having that long barrel on there is very, very nice. Now in the underbarrel section, we're gonna go down here and do something pretty similar as well. And you got pretty much two options, which is gonna be A for the vertical foregrip if you guys want to run that. That's going to give you some good horizontal recoil control, but I don't really see why you'd run that as opposed to if you don't have it unlocked, maybe you'd want to run that Ranger foregrip as long as you have it unlocked. It gives you basically the same amount of horizontal recoil control. It does help with your sprinting movement speed as it does for all the SMGs. You should be running this as long as you have it unlocked. Now in the magazine section, there is a couple of things in here that can be ran. Basically, you have, of course, extended mag 2, which is going to be your first option. I wouldn't really say extended mag 1 because that only gives you 40 rounds. And with this thing having like a 900 to 1,000 round per minute fire rate, 40 rounds is not really sufficient for this thing, especially when you're playing trios, quads, so on and so forth. You want to run extended mag 2 or extended mag 3. Keep in mind, extended mag 3 will slow you down a bit more. So I'd say, normally speaking, to go for extended mag 2, and you should be good to go for having an adequate amount of ammo and not slowing yourself down too much. And lastly, we're going to finish off this build here with a rear grip, and that's going to be the commando grip, and this is going to help us with our sprint to fire speed and our aim down sight speed. If you guys don't want to run this, you could go for that ergonomic here. Once again, kind of experiment between the commando and the ergonomic. I've ran basically both, and my preference right now is the commando grip, so that's going to be my final attachment here for the Compact 92. Now for our third SMG here today, that's going to be the PP919. This is an absolute heater SMG. It's going to be right up there with one of the best ones to use in the game, which is of course that Jackal PDW, the Compact, so on and so forth. First thing, we're gonna go in here to the muzzle category, and we can actually run a suppressor here on this specific gun. And the reason we can do that and not run a compensator is because, well, anyone that's used this thing and has like actual thumbs has realized that it's got very little to almost zero recoil, especially since they did that update which removed all the visual recoil from all the BO6 guns. It just makes sense. I don't know why they had, you know, visual recoil in the first place. It's never really been a thing that works. But anyways, we have the suppressor on here because we don't have to compensate for any actual recoil. We just want to stay off the radar. And we don't have some of the similar attachments options we do for some of the other guns, so we don't have to waste an attachment on like an underbarrel. We can just go for the suppressor. Now the barrel section, what I'm going to do is just going to throw on that long barrel here once again. Pretty standard, pretty tried and true. Don't gotta explain this one too much. Just gives you the maximum increase to your damage range, which is absolutely filthy, by the way. This puts you out to about 17 to 20-ish meters. I can't check the detailed statistics right now, but it does put you way out there in front of pretty much every other meta SMG right now. So you're gonna have a crazy good damage range on this gun. Now for the magazine, we have a couple options in here. Realistically speaking, you could basically go down here for fast mag 1, which is going to give you 50 rounds in the mag. Of course, that is a downsize from the base magazine size, but overall it is quite beneficial to have a fast mag 1 on here. I think 50 rounds is perfectly adequate for this gun. And if you want to go for something a little bit faster, you could go for fast mag 2, which gives you 40 rounds. I'm not the biggest fan of this. I've only really ever used this, you know, a little while ago, and then I immediately switched over to fast mag 1, and I haven't moved off it since, unless I was making a creative style video, in which case I had to use fast mag 2. But overall, I'd say for meta purposes, you want to stick with fast mag 1. Now, as far as your rear grip goes, this is a little bit more up in the air in what you guys want to do. The commando grip actually works out great, ADS speed and spring to fire speed, kind of like that compact 92. And same with the ergonomic grip. Basically, both of them work out great. It's just a little bit more personal preference on if you want to have a better ADS and spring to fire, or would you rather have better slide to fire, dive to fire time. For me, I'm almost going to say that I'd rather have the ergonomic grip just because of that slide to fire. And of course, it does give me ADS speed. Slide to fire is a huge thing considering I'm constantly slide canceling around. And with all that omni movement, be able to slide, you know, backwards, sideways, so on and so forth, it does really help out. So I'd say to go for the ergonomic. Last but definitely not least, in the stock section, where since we're not going to be using an optic of any sort, the iron sights are beautiful. I'd say just to go for the infiltrator stock, as this gives you the maximum increase to your aim walking movement speed. Though that balance stock is of course good. However, you only get one green arrow, or basically one increase or benefit from that, as opposed to something like the Jackal PDW, which does give you the double green arrows. Of course, you can go check out those detailed stats, but the infiltrator is going to give you the most for that aim walking. And for this gun, I'd say it's very beneficial to have that. So this is going to be my go-to attachment and my final one for this build. For our fourth SMG, we're going to be rocking the C9, aka the MP5. This got a pretty nice buff here in one of the more recent updates, and it's become a lot more effective than it used to be, because it was really just kind of a pea shooter, and now it's definitely not. You can absolutely fry people with the ground loot, and of course a good loadout build. So we're not going to go for an optic or a muzzle, going straight for that barrel. First, we're gonna go do the per usual, which is the long barrel. I really don't gotta explain this one, but this is gonna be our first attachment. On our barrel section, we're gonna go down here to the very bottom, like we all have been doing, which is gonna be that Ranger foregrip. Horizontal, sprinting movement speed. I mean, it is what it is. It does what it's supposed to do. This build I'm showing you guys in particular is one that I've absolutely fried with, and I've dropped almost close to my PR on Rebirth and BO6 Warzone. My BO6 Warzone PR, I got pretty dangerously close using this exact build I'm gonna show y'all. So I say this is really good. Now for the magazine, I personally always go down here and run extended mag 2 just to give me those 50 rounds. You can run extended mag 1, like it's for sure an option. I don't mind it when it's on like a ground loot C9, but overall, when I'm building out a loadout build, I just go for extended mag 2. Give me those 50 rounds. It feels real solid like that, and I also don't feel like I'm slowed down hardly. So I can rock that, but keep in mind, extended mag 1 and 2 are both viable options. Just my preference is 2. In the rear grip section here, we're gonna go down and throw in that ergonomic grip here as per usual. Slide to fire, dive to fire, ADS. I mean, you got to be sliding, bobbing, and weaving around, and that C9 with that ergonomic in this specific build is going to help you achieve that. And lastly, in the stock section here, once again, I'm sure you guys are noticing a trend here with some of these SMG builds. You can kind of build them out pretty similarly and have them be very effective with some minor nuanced changes. But the infiltrator stock here is going to be the move for that maximum increase to our aim blocking movement speed. So that's my final attachment here for the C9. Now for our final SMG, and last but definitely not least, the SOG. This is actually a really solid SMG, which you can build out to have great mobility and very little recoil. First thing, we're actually gonna go throw on a compensator for this gun because it does require a compensator. It's gonna have that recoil that's gonna start bouncing around, not visually, but it's just gonna start moving around on you. So we definitely need to have the compensator to really dial in our overall recoil, as this will make this gun so much more easier to use. Now for the barrel section, we're gonna go down here and throw on that long barrel. Just to increase that our overall damage range, gives you, of course, the maximum increase you can possibly get. So we are going to be running this, and that's the best way to run this gun. For the underbarrel, I'm just gonna go down here and throw on the Ranger foregrip. I pretty much exclusively use the Ranger. I don't really find the vertical to be useful. Maybe if I was doing something like competitive play, I see some guys go for vertical, not necessarily on this gun because they don't really use it in competitive that much. But basically, you know, I'd say just go for the Ranger as long as you happen to have it unlocked. I can't remember what level you get it to, or you have to get it to for this attachment, but overall it's going to be the best way to run it. For the magazine, there's pretty much one option in here which I'd say is acceptable, which is going to be Extended Mag 2. This gun doesn't have, of course, like the craziest damage output of all time, so I'd say having 55 rounds in the mag comes in quite handy, especially when you get somebody down, then maybe you don't have a throwing knife or something you're throwing at them directly to, you know, of course, not use extra bullets. It does help to be able to get them down, finish off the kill, and then get the reload in. That's something I feel like some people don't account for. They just figure out how many bullets does it take to down somebody, not thinking about, oh, I need to have some extra in the mag to be able to take somebody out that's on the ground so they don't, you know, get revived or have a self-res or something like that. And for our final attachment here in this top 5 on this saw, we're gonna go down here and throw on that ergonomic grip. It's doing the Lord's work over here, giving you that great slide to fire, dive to fire, and aim down sight speed. So that's my top 5. If you guys enjoyed today's video, be sure to give it a like for the algorithm, subscribe, those notifications turned on, check out this other video on screen, and I'll see you all next time.